So boys and girls, what you're looking at now is called Stonehenge. Stonehenge is located in England, and it's one of the most popular and most famous prehistoric sites on Earth. Its construction took almost 1,500 years. They believe it started around 3000 BC. Within Stonehenge, there are two main types of stones. The large vertical ones and arches are made of something called sarsen. It's a type of sandstone that is common in that region. The smaller stones are known as bluestones. Most modern scientists think that these giant stones had to be moved 150 miles to be part of Stonehenge. The methods through which these stones made the trip is one of Stonehenge's greatest mysteries, with theories including everything from rafts to teams of oxen. After spending years debating whether Stonehenge was ever a complete circle, and in 2014 there was a drought. Conservators didn't have a long enough hose to water all of the grass around Stonehenge during the drought, and then they began to notice something odd: patchy marks in the turf. The areas pointed at the position of stones that had previously been present or had been buried over centuries and seemed to settle the question whether Stonehenge had once been a circle. It was the Saxons who named the stones Stonehenge, or hanging stones, in the 12th century. It was given that name because the stones appear to float. Now, a henge is the term given to a large prehistoric earthwork, usually, but not always circular, whether of stone or wood or earth. Boys and girls, I would love to know who here from Evans Park or Franklin Avenue has actually been to Stonehenge in real life. I had the opportunity to see Stonehenge, and I can tell you it is one of the most amazing experiences I think I've ever had. Alright, so 4th grade, some of the supplies that you'll need today will be some of the stones that you gathered from our nature walk. Now, you can see the ones that I chose for this project look just like the rocks that we saw in the photos about Stonehenge. And we'll talk about these rocks in a minute. But I want to let you know that I washed them in some hot water and I dried them off. So there are my stones. You're going to need a paper plate or a surface to glue your project to. I have some paintbrushes, and I have these really cool watercolor crayons that you can color with them and then they turn into paint. But you might use crayons or markers or just plain old watercolor paint or acrylic paint, that's fine. But if you do this with Elmer's glue, they will certainly stand. It will just take some time. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create the earth that my Stonehenge is going to be built on. And to do that, I'm basically just going to color some yellow and some green. I might take some brown. Okay, so now that I have some color on, I'm going to take my wet paintbrush and I am just going to blend these colors together right on the surface to create the grass where my stones will be glued. If you only have one color green, then just use that. That's perfectly fine. And I'm just adding some other shades on here just to add some interest. And if you have some fake grass, which you may have seen me use in other projects, you can certainly glue some on. But you need to have your paper plate be completely dry before you move on to the next step. And also, boys and girls, I have a couple paper plates here while I'm working so that way this doesn't bend or curve. I'm going to just add some more detail, and I will let that dry, and then I'll show you the next step. Alright, so boys and girls, my land had time to dry, and now I'm going to start putting together my prehistoric monument. Now, as we learned in the first part of our video, that Stonehenge has a bunch of vertical stones which are called the sarsens. So I'm going to pick out the ones that kind of are all the same height. I'm going to lay those out and try to find ones that are similar in size. Now, if you do some more research about Stonehenge, you'll see that in the middle there's a really large sarsen, and I think I'm going to try to do that one as well. So I'm going to use these bigger ones. Okay, so now what you want to do is take your glue and you want to try to find the flat side of your stone, and you're going to basically just glue them upright. This might take some effort and some time with the Elmer's glue. So if you have a hot glue gun, I would certainly recommend it with help from mom or dad, but you'll see how much quicker and how much faster this goes. So I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue and just hold it for a second. I'm going to glue a couple to look as if they fell down. Now, the other part of the construction of Stonehenge was the horizontal pieces, which are called lentils. So I'm going to take this stone here, glue it here, I love that one, and I'm going to find a similar one. Put those side by side, and then I'm going to pick a piece that looks like a nice lentil for the top, and I think I'm going to use this one. And I'm going to put some glue. Just rest that on top. Boys and girls, this post and lentil system was the basis for much of ancient and prehistoric architecture. And this style of architecture continued right through ancient Egypt, and you can see this in many of their temples. So I'm going to keep adding my stones, and I'm going to keep adding some of my stones. And from what I read, there are over 82 stones that make up Stonehenge. And it's a great mystery as to why Stonehenge was created. A lot of people believe that it had to do with the winter and the spring and the summer solstice, because at certain points of the year, the sun will shine right through some of the stones. And it's the most amazing sight. I think I have a picture of it in one of my slides that I showed you earlier. So I'm going to glue that here. And just work your way around. Alright, so boys and girls, you can see I have a bunch of them glued. And I'm going to add another lentil right here. Just make it look like it is falling over. And I think I'll put one here as well. So I have two sarsens, and I'm going to put a lentil right there. And I think I'll put, let's see, I think I'll put a stone. Right here as well. It really does help to have the hot glue gun. But if you're not allowed to use one, or you do not have one, again, you can take the Elmer's glue and just make sure you're putting it on a flat piece and rest it down just like that. And you might have to wait before you put the horizontal ones on top, but that'll dry and then you can continue as well. Alright, so boys and girls, you can see I have 2 examples that I finished, and I think they look terrific. They really do look like a representation of what Stonehenge looks like in England, and I encourage you to try it. Go on a nature walk and see if you can find some stones that are representative of the Saracens and the Lentils. So boys and girls, if you master the project, please have mom or dad send me a photo. I'd love to see it. You can email me at pricet@pearlriver.org. And if you finish the project and you would like to do some other natural art projects, please feel free to click on one of the other grade level links and you can try to see what they're doing as well. I hope you had fun. I'll link up with you next week when we will do more fun and exciting art projects together online. Have a great day.